So has inflation already peaked in June, or will our kababayans continue to be hurt by rising prices in the coming months? Asian Institute of Management's JP Rivera joins us now for his views. JP, thank you so much for joining us. Are you concerned about the June inflation rate soaring to 6.1% from 5.4% in May?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So the inflation rate of 6.1% this June 21, it's kind of alarming because it's increasing quite, not as fast as hyperinflation, but it's increasing that everyone can actually feel the difference with the inflation this month, from last month, and from last year.
And you personally, JP, are you feeling the pinch of rising consumer prices? Do you feel that your purchasing power is being impacted?
Oh, yes. Now, first example would be when you gas up, you can certainly feel that the amount 500 of unleaded will not anymore make you reach a greater distance compared to previous months and compared to last year. Number two, when you go to the market, you cannot anymore buy the same amount of food that you used to buy before. There's a striking difference on what you can afford now compared to previous months and last year.
JP, with what you just said, it just goes to show that rising costs are really adding strain to the Filipinos' cost of living. But on the flip side, despite these rising prices, there seems to be still demand. I mean, malls are still packed, restaurants are full, and traffic is back to pre-COVID levels, showing that consumers are still adamant about spending even in the face of rising prices.
Well, that is just one of the picture of consumers, because consumers can be classified into a broad spectrum. We cannot see in the malls the effect of inflation on those people who are in the fringes of society. They're not there. So those people we are seeing in the malls are those people that can still accommodate the increase in price of our basic commodities. But for those the ultra-rich, the extra-rich, and those under poverty, the impact of inflation for them is quite different from what we are seeing in the malls.
So for our kababayans who belong to the fringes of society, JP, what must the government do right now to stabilize rising prices amid spiraling oil and food prices and higher electricity rates?
But I join fellow economists who are actually suggesting or recommending targeted subsidies to the poor. It's because by providing them targeted subsidies, aka ayuda, they would be able to augment their household spending, particularly on basic necessities such as food and medicine, to be able to support their families despite rising inflation and the unemployment that they may be experiencing as of the moment.
All right, you're suggesting targeted subsidies, but in the previous administration, a lot of those targeted have not yet received their ayudas or the help from the government. How would we know that in this administration that our kababayans who need the ayuda will receive the funds on time?
You know, the thing with this targeted subsidy is that there is a complementary resource required to be able to efficiently distribute this. We need to have been learned from the pandemic that there are certain facilities required for government to be able to effectively distribute targeted subsidies, such as the application of technology, national ID system, so that we are more prepared when these economic risks arise, and so that benefits from government would be able to reach those who are under poverty faster than ever before. But as of the moment, we can only be contented with the fact that help is underway.
Why not just suspend the oil excise tax? So the impact is a blanket impact on all sectors of society.
That's the thing with the suspension of the excise tax. Suspending it will only benefit those who are on the upper echelons of society because they can afford. They can afford it with or without the inflation. But for those people who are poor, who may not be able to afford such high prices, that would be, quote unquote, if I may say, unfair for them. Because again, as what I have mentioned earlier, the impact of inflation on the different segments of society is different.
So, JP, at 6.1%, has inflation reached its summit? Has it reached its peak? Or do we have more ways to go? 6.5%, 7%, 8% in the coming months?
Well, given the information that we have now and given the trend of data, the outlook can still be that inflation can still increase, no? Given the supply chain constraints that we are experiencing now, fluctuations in the exchange rate, no, the situation of the pandemic right now, everything contributes to the current trend of inflation. But until certain interventions through the form of monetary policy can be implemented, there is still room, no, for the Philippines to be able to manage this inflation. But as far as information is available right now, the trend is still increasing, unfortunately.
Asian Institute of Management economist JP Rivera, thank you so much for your insights on inflation.